Welcome this Friday, November 18th from the White House.
Thank you. It's a little bit chilly for the Indians like us.
It's cold. It's dark out. The lantern is shining in back of us here. We can see it. If I scooch out of the way, you can see it there. The lantern on December 7th, 1941 was turned off by FDR. And he said, this is a beacon. This lantern in the White House is a beacon for democracy, and we'll turn it back on once we defeat our enemies. And so we're standing at a historic place here at the White House.
A lot of things happening today and yesterday. Right? Tell us what happened.
Wow. Well, just as we came out here, Attorney General Merrick Garland has appointed a special counsel to look into the various investigations of Trump's cases, including documents at Mar-a-Lago and also the January 6th insurrection. Of course, we're seeing many layers on top of this. Yesterday, we saw Nancy Pelosi, one of the most consequential politicians that America has ever seen, announce that she's retiring from her leadership position in the House of Representatives. She's not resigning from her post as Congresswoman from San Francisco, but she is resigning that post in the next term to be Speaker of the House, or to be House Minority Leader, because the Republicans are now in the majority.
I think she is passing on the baton to the new generation of leadership in the Democratic Party.
She is, and Hakim Jefferies, I've met him several times. He's a very knowledgeable person. He knows what he's doing.
So the last few weeks we have been discussing on this. So how would this presidency emerge after midterm elections? Now the midterm elections are over, results are known. Has president become weaker or more strong?
Well, the president, surprisingly enough, is stronger, even though he lost the House. Fact is that usually about 30 seats are lost when president of a certain party has the White House and there are midterm elections. Democrats had made a very daring bet. They actually followed an example from former Senator Claire McCaskill, who put money, campaign money, to get the most far-right candidate. That turned out well. She actually won the election, and Democrats did the same thing. They actually put a lot of monies into getting the most extreme candidates that they could get. And that could have backfired on them, but it didn't. For most part, Democrats came out ahead.
It looks like post-midterm, president has emerged more stronger, Democratic more united, Republican bitter divided, and there's bitter inside them. But tell me, with this House under the control of the Republican Party, would President Biden be able to get through his agenda in the next 2 years?
No. In fact, there could be government shutdowns. The Republicans are already promising a slew of investigations, including into Hunter Biden, Merrick Garland, the FBI. They're also threatening to, what they say, audit funds going to Ukraine. This is putting democracies in Europe onto high alert. They're thinking, oh my gosh, America is not with us anymore, is not leading NATO as President Biden has done. He really has done a remarkable job of bringing NATO together, expanding NATO even.
Tell me, if the Republicans have already set their eye on investigations on the president's family, right? But why is it necessary to attack on one family instead of focusing their energy on the entire American family, every family, right?
That's the question. That's really the question.
Do you have an explanation for that?
Short-sightedness. Nancy Pelosi, when she was putting together the ACA, she was faced with many obstacles. One of the obstacles was a congressman who said, look, if I vote for health care reform, I'm going to lose re-election. And Nancy Pelosi replied, is your job to get reelected, or is it to do your job? He ended up voting for health care reform. He ended up also losing re-election. But she saw that as a win. However, that's not usually how politics is played in this city. Usually, people want to get reelected.
Before leaving for G20 and COP27 in Egypt and Bali, President had a press conference here, and he was asked a question about his 2024 expectations. He said he intends to run, but he would take a final decision during the Christmas holidays with his family. 3 days ago, former President Trump announced that he's running for 2024. Tell us what is going to happen in 2024.
That's going to make all the difference in President Biden's decision. He ran because of the challenge that Donald Trump presented. He believed that he was the one Democrat who was moderate enough to attract voters that were independents, that might think about voting for Trump, but would rather vote for a more moderate Democrat. I think that's what's going to be affecting his decision-making today. How this country is best served.
What do you see in 2024? Is it going to be Trump versus Biden or someone else?
I don't think it's going to be Trump. I don't think that Republicans oftentimes jumped on the Trump bandwagon because they wanted to be on his coattails and win. But he has lost. He's been responsible for losing seats in 2018, 2020. He lost the presidency and the Senate, and also the Senate in 2022. The Murdoch family, the Murdoch empire is out. Ron DeSantis has a much clearer chance of becoming the GOP candidate. But we have to see what's going to happen. We don't know. I mean, politics is a funny game.
Looks like you're not very confident that President Trump would be on the ballot in 2024.
I'm not, but the more candidates, his gameplay that really worked well for him was the more candidates there were, the more he was able to kind of just play one off against another and whittle it down so it was finally him.
Anything else you'd like to discuss this week? How was President's trip to Bali?
Well, two things. President Biden has a very important day tomorrow, his 80th birthday.
True.
Of course,
it the oldest president ever celebrating his birthday?
I believe it is.
Okay.
I believe it is.
Go to other topic. Important, President Biden's birthday tomorrow.
Yep.
He's having his first granddaughter's wedding in this White House, People's House.
That's a big deal. Remember when Richard Nixon, his daughter, got married at the White House? It's a big deal, and it's a celebration for all of us.
But the media is not allowed here.
No, no.
Okay, let's move on to other topics.
Yeah. Well, of course we had the COP27 we had in Egypt, where the United Nations declared that there's an emergency. We have to do something. The developing countries have said to developed countries, look, you need to pay for reparations. You're the ones who caused this. We didn't burn fossil fuels, but you in developing nations did. It's probably not going to happen, but that is the conversation that's going on right now. In Bali, Vladimir Putin did not show up. Lavrov did, his foreign minister.
But he showed up in another way. He fired a missile some other country.
Well, it appears that he may not have fired those missiles. It may have been a mistake from Ukraine. They may have fired anti-missile missiles, and they may have veered out. Analysts are very careful here not to get ahead of their skis on this, because it's a very serious deal when a non-NATO country attacks another. And so we have to be very cautious here, and that's what NATO countries are trying to do, is to tread a fine line.
How did his meeting with President Xi Jinping went?
I think it went well. Look, those two they've known each other for a long, long time. They understand each other. And Xi Jinping, according to President Biden, said something very important, and that was that China was not intent on attacking Taiwan. Now, of course, they're threatening Taiwan. They continue to send naval vessels around cause harassment. But he did make that promise, and that's very important.
What China says?
I do believe that there is in even the most tense situations, when you have officials that are practiced in knowing what they're doing, not people that just kind of get elected president and really don't even know what the functions of government are, but somebody who really knows what they're doing, that kind of works. I mean, we saw that kind of diplomacy during the Cold War between Russia and the United States, where yes, there was full-out Cold War, but yet diplomatic talk worked. The Pentagon works very hard to kind of keep that kind of dialogue open. One of the things that's really worried the Pentagon about the Russian invasion of Ukraine is that Pentagon has not been able to reach high-level military officials in Russia to talk and to discuss this. That worries them more than anything.
Great. With this, we should say bye to our viewers.
Yes.
And note that on this People's House, next week is going to be very eventful. President Biden's birthday celebrations, his granddaughter's wedding celebrations over here.
It's a big, big deal.
And then we have the Thanksgiving, right?
That's right.
President will be pardoning the turkey on Monday.
Yes, yes. Then that's always a fun event that happens in the Rose Garden. It's always a celebration.
Maybe we can bring some snippets of those turkey celebrations.
Let's do that. I think that and of course, remember that Thanksgiving was a tradition that the Pilgrims initiated, but President Lincoln made that an official holiday given the tragedy of the Civil War.
Right.
So that we should give thanks for all we do have. And that's really an important lesson.
And thank you all for watching us and supporting us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.